What up, YouTube? Franchise Sports TV back again with another video. So, as I was going through my cold, flu, pneumonia, whatever I was going through, I was trying to think of a different way to approach this channel. I think in some way the code was a blessing. We'll see how this is. But I was thinking of a different way to do this channel other than doing, everyday stuff about the NBA. Tell you the truth, since I've been sick, so probably about almost a week, I haven't been really even watching anything or hearing anything from the NBA except for the whole Jaden Ivory thing. But outside of that, no, I haven't been paying attention at all. You could say I probably have lost interest. I'm slowly losing interest in the NBA because it's just not interesting. Maybe with the playoffs start to heat up, maybe, but right now you got a couple more games in the regular season and it's all over with, and you get to start the real fun starts. But I want to educate these kids, because these newer kids, especially probably the ones born in 2010 and beyond, don't know what basketball used to be. And when I mean used to be, the way basketball should be played, in the positions that should be still there. Right now, what we're seeing in the NBA is positionless basketball. There's no strategy. There's no position. There's no, what my dad used to say, nobody has a role anymore. Maybe some people do, depending on what team they are, but there's no roles anymore. So I'm going to explain every position for dummies so they can get it. So I'm going to start out like a starting lineup. So like, share, subscribe, people. So start at guard, the point guard. Now, the point guard is basically the quarterback of the team, directing plays, directing players, setting up players to shoot. Right now in today's league, there's no real point guards. There ain't. There's no certified natural point guards who are pass first, shoot later. They ain't. There's no certified ones. The last one just retired. He just retired. The NBA forced his ass out. And that was Chris Paul, who could have been beneficial to the Houston Rockets. Yeah, I know he's 40 years old going on 41, but shoot, look at this league right now. But that's probably the last of the true point guards. That's supposed to distribute the ball, facilitate it, set up plays, command the offense. You don't got that no more. Now the kids are gonna argue, say, yeah, no, you don't have that. A true point guard no more. There ain't no more true point guards in this league anymore. They ain't. Because after the point guard, supposed point guards in the league, they shoot force pass later. Now, the point guard is originally supposed to be anywhere from 5'10" to 6'3". That has changed a lot too. Now you can be 6'6". Well, that's been changed. Best person who did it at 6'9" was Magic Johnson. But there's no point guard who averaged more assists than points anymore. There ain't no John Stockton type point guard no more. Now, Stephen Curry is a combo guard. He is not a true point guard. Jalen Brunson, Damian Lillard, people like that, combo point guards. Now, if anything, closest person to being a point guard could be Tyrese Halliburton, but he ain't no pass. He shoot. I'm talking about people who don't even think about shooting. It's always intending to pass the ball. It was Chris Paul, Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, John Stockton in the last 30 years. Those are gone. Well, I guess you could count Westbrook. Westbrook was more... I don't know about Westbrook. But yeah, Westbrook is a point guard, but that's a different type of point guard. That's a point guard who is just especially in his pride, explosive. And now he necessarily couldn't shoot, but he can rack up them assists and get them rebounds. But now since he's older, there's really nobody like that anymore. Now, he had defensive point guards. You still got one more, Marcus Smart, but he's been pretty much just been, not so much anymore. You had the defensive point guards like Gary Payton, Drew Holiday. They're gone. I thought Lonzo Ball could have been that next point guard, but his knees ain't holding up. But the point guard position is supposed to be facilitating. Best ball handler, best passer, drive it, mid-range, create shots for himself, create shots for the teammate. They ain't that anymore. Shooting guard position, which I think mostly everybody's in. Shoot. Everybody's a shooting guard this year. I think the only positions in the NBA, you think about it, there's only 3 positions in the NBA. 2. Okay, 3. Shooting guard, forward, center. That's it. And everybody's a shooting guard. There ain't no point guards, no centers. Barely. No power forwards. Everybody's a shooting guard. But the original I can't even think. Job for the shooting guard was mostly mid-range, 3-point shot. Sometimes they do bring up the ball. Sometimes they play defense. Sometimes they can slash and get to the rim. Most of the when I was growing up, I always thought the best player on the team was a shooting guard, because I grew up in the course of time when the later periods of Jordan and in the earlier periods of Kobe. I always thought the best player on the team was the shooting guard, because he was the most dynamic scorer on the team. But that was usually sometimes your best player. Now, sometimes your shooting guard isn't your best player. There's been many teams that didn't have a dynamic shooting guard, they had a dynamic somebody else. But the shooting guard is supposed to, can shoot, slash, play defense, use the screens, not dribble so much like these guys today. Dribble, get to the lane, of course. That was the original position of the shooting guard. Now everybody's a shooting guard. That's why I think Stephen Curry, people like that, Damian Lillard, they're combo guards, because they don't really facilitate the ball. People who really facilitate the ball on the Golden State Warriors team was like people like Andre Iguodala, Barbosa, Sean Livingston, even Draymond Green. It really wasn't all Stephen Curry. Now, small forward position, somewhat still around, but small forward position, many people consider that to be the most versatile position out of the starting 5. Because when I was growing up, I thought the small forward was a combination of the shooting guard and the power forward, because most small forwards are anywhere from 6'7", 6'6" to 6'9". Some even 6'10", but mostly 6'6" to 6'9". And they was also good shooters too. Not so much in the post, but good shooters from mid-range, from the 3-point, like a Larry Bird. In this case, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Dr. J, people like that. There was amazing great 3-point shooters as well. Swingmen's. And if you want to get really technical with it, small forwards were usually your best defensive player. Now, there's been plenty of teams in the NBA that had that won championships in the last 30 years, had that best defensive player playing at the small forward position. Examples of Bruce Bowen for the San Antonio Spurs. You could say Peter Tuck for the Bucks when they won one. Is Lou Dort said to be a small forward? If so, him. People like that. Scottie Pippen, of course. I don't know about so much James Worthy, but you want to include him in there. That's who were your defensive specialists on the small forward position. And it was, like I said, versatile. Usually those guys were either from a 6'5" to 6'8". James Posey is another one. Tony Allen, even though he did not win a championship with the Boston Celtics, but he was another one. because he made it hard for Kobe in that 2010 NBA Finals when he was on Boston. Now, we still have small forwards. I think majority of people are small forwards. Power forward. Now, power forward position, it's been lost somewhat. Now it's lost as a center position. The power forward position is usually in the low block. That's where they usually camp at. One of the team's most powerful scorers. Someone like a Giannis. That's why I think Giannis could do well in the 80s, because he can play like that. When I was growing up, I thought most power forwards sat, like I said, in the post, you know, and kind of had the same capabilities as the center. Post up, shoot that mid-range, shoot the hook shot, whatever. Now power forwards can go out to the 3 and shoot like a Dirk Nowitzki, which was nothing wrong with that. Some power forwards can go out there and hold some of these guards if they're quick and agile enough to do it. Most power forwards were around 6'7" to 7 foot, because Tim Duncan was 7 foot as a power forward. Sometimes he'll go to that center position as well. Now, most power forwards couldn't shoot back in the day. They were strictly in the post or in the mid-range area. Now they can shoot like crazy, which is ridiculous. Usually they set the screens, get the easy dunks off the screens. Now, there's a such thing I want to go before I go into center. The point forward, something they don't even use anymore. I actually do use the point forward. What I'm talking about, I'm thinking the center. Now, they still use the point forward position. Before I get into the center position, the point forward position is LeBron, basically. They can bring up the ball. There's LeBron, Boris Diaw, which was very crucial during the San Antonio's last championship. Hedo Turkoglu was very crucial during the Orlando Magic's run to the finals in 2009. People who can bring out the ball at the court. Now, the point forward I thought it originated with Marcus Johnson, but I think it goes back to the early 70s. I think it went back to the 70s with people like John Johnson. They used to play on the I think it was Cleveland Cavaliers. I think he was the one who originated that, but I think Gus Johnson and others ran with it. And I think the person who really put it on the map in the 70s was Rick Barry. I think if Rick Barry didn't run the point forward like he did, I don't think they would have won in 75. But I think it got really popular in the 80s, and then you got people like Scottie Pippen just took it away after that. Then you could also say Magic could have been a point forward as well too. You could qualify him as that, because he was, 6'9" and bringing the ball up the court. But people like Scottie Pippen as well, who did it, because Bulls didn't really have a certified point guard. The point guard was Scottie Pippen, and at times Michael Jordan bringing that ball up. They never had. That's funny. A team that never had a true point guard never really had to worry about. When you have Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, you don't have to worry about a point guard. So they got lucky with that. But that's pretty much the point forward position in a nutshell. Maybe I'll make a separate video explaining that a little bit more, the origins of that. But for the center position has been lost. And the center position, the development of the center position has really made me sad. Because I'm sitting here watching college basketball, and they still use centers. And when they need a center, when these college teams need a quick point, especially when they play in a tournament, high stakes game, you need a time we need to dump it into the center. And we don't have that anymore. As you all know, the center was always the tallest player on the team, going back to the early stages of basketball. The the center originally was to protect the rim by playing defense, also getting rebounds and scoring, dumping it down to the center. We don't have that no more. The center position has changed so much, it's not even crucial anymore. Yes, you got Nikola Jokic, Bam Adebayo, and Victor Wembanyama, and Joel Embiid. But none of those guys play the center position like they're supposed to. Going back to what I was saying about the tournament, when they needed a quick point, I was watching some of these teams, when they needed a quick point, they made sure to work the ball all the way around the court, half court, and then dump it into the center for a quick, easy 2. In the NBA, they don't do that. It's a shot from the 3-point every time. And I'm just thinking, some of these teams who actually have people who can play center, it's like, why don't you guys use these guys in the center position like they're supposed to? That's what frustrates me about the NBA so much. They don't need a 3-point shot all the time. Either a mid-range or dumping in to your center for a quick, easy 2, especially when there ain't no real centers no more. If I was Joel Embiid, I wouldn't be out here shooting threes. I'd be out here posted up. But he don't think like that. I remember it was a couple years ago, Hakeem Olajuwon advised him to get down low and get in the post. What he do? What he say back to Olajuwon? Basically said he don't know what he talking about. Spat in his face. Even though Hakeem Olajuwon is a 2-time champion, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Hall of Famer, top 75 player. Who would you rather listen to? These knucklehead analytic people or somebody who's been through the grind, who's a Hall of Famer? I'll take advice from the Hall of Famer, not some fat poor analytic person. But that's the way the NBA is. And that's why the center position is lost, because they got rid of it. There ain't no real centers. Everybody's a stretch forward sitting out in the perimeter. It ain't fun no more watching about NBA basketball. It really ain't. Now, I will say, every once in a while a center can take a 3. But not all the time. But it's probably good for Victor Wembanyama probably to shoot those 3s, because I think he was in the post all the time. I think he'll get beat up. Especially he played 30 years ago. If the centers weren't allowed to shoot 3s, now 30, 40 years ago, no center was shooting 3s like the way they are now. So he had to be in the post. I don't think he'll survive in that. He had to get toughened up. And I'm looking at all these examples of centers too. I'm like, these guys, I don't know about these guys. I feel bad for the center position. That's why I said basketball is not basketball anymore these days. It's lost. It's done. It needs a reboot. Back to the original 5 positions. When you set up the play by the point guard, pick and roll, that ball gets passed at least 7 times before the 24 shot clock is up, like the San Antonio Spurs used to do. You find an easy shot. You don't just go for 3. That's why the game is so boring these days. Everybody wants to go for 3. There's no strategy anymore. The strategy was you find a way to get the 2 points. Or get the 3 points if you need to. They don't even set up a play no more. They just go down there and just shoot. LeBron, as much as I don't like LeBron did say this very well. He said today, they don't go straight to the basket on the fast break. They go straight to the 3-point line every time. He's right. I experienced it my own self. I don't understand why people, and you play pickleball, especially if you play pickleball or even a league, these fools go straight to the 3-point line. Go to the basket on a fast break. The high percentage shot is at the front of the basket, not a 3-point shot. What's the point of somebody getting a steal on a fast break? You're usually gonna jack up a 3 and miss it. I don't get that. Anyways, that's the 5 positions explained for dummies, I guess. You got the guard position, point guard position to facilitate the ball, settle the plays. Shooting guard position, basically do whatever. Shoot, drive to the basket. And if you can't do none of that, play defense as well. Like Stephalosha used to do. That was another defensive shooting guard I forgot about. Small forward position is basically a combination of power forward and small forward. Power forward, sit in the low post, post up, set the picks, drive to the basket, get the rebounds. Same thing with the center. Sit there and post up, dump it down to the center. Rebounds, defense for both power forwards and centers. That art has been lost. There's no real positions more in the NBA. Everybody just shoots. I'm surprised these dudes can get rebounds the way they do, but I guess when you shoot so much and the other team shoots so many threes, I guess you can get a lot of rebounds. But anyways, like, share, subscribe.